Hi guys, this is Arkelle here, and I receive a lot of questions about what kind of materials I use for my drawings and for details and such. So I thought I would do a video going over all the types of materials that I use and all the traditional art mediums that I use. So as you can see here, the most common question that I get, of course, is regards to my colored pencil work, and people are always, oh my god, they're always asking what type of colored pencils do I use, or pencil crayons. I, of course, will always answer Prismacolor. Prismacolor is my absolute favorite brand of colored pencils. I recently got the 132 set of standard and or premier colored pencils, and I love them to death. Oh my goodness. And you've asked me this question before. I will also say that I use Prismacolor Verithin pencils, and there is a difference between the two. I won't really go into the difference because that's not what this video is about, but there is a difference between the two, so make sure that if you do get these that you know there is a difference in the lead that is in them. One is a soft core, this one here, the standard premier pencils, and this one is a hardcore, which is the Verithin. So that's the most common question I get as regards to my colored pencils. I also use markers, and of course they are Copic markers. Copic markers are the best markers that I've ever tried. There is really nothing better than Copic markers, in my opinion. I have both the Chow and standard kind. Yeah, I have both. They're realistically the exact same pen, only one you can refill and change the nibs on and such. For what pencil I use, I get asked a lot what type of pencil I use. These are the two pencils that I use. I use this one pretty much all the time. It is a Graph Gear 500 0.3 Pentel pencil, and when people ask me this question, I tell them that I use a pencil that is for drafting, and it has this very heavy metal tip and this tiny point here, and I like that because it's very balanced. It has a kind of like heavy weight to the tip, but it's not extremely heavy, and it's just a very good pencil as far as that is concerned. This pencil I used before I had got that one, and this is a Papermate 0.5 mechanical pencil, and I pretty much just use this for the eraser, I'll be quite honest. I really don't use it much for that, other than that. Now, I used to use it for drawing, but I went to a smaller sized pencil lead. In regards to the pencil lead that I use a few different types of pencil leads depending on the situation. The one that I pretty much always use in my regular pencil, again, is this 0.3 Pentel pencil lead. I don't know if you probably can't see that, my camera doesn't want to focus, but it is B. If you know pencils, it's a hardness scale, and the amount of darkness to it. Instead of like HB that you use in school, this is just B, so it's a bit harder and darker than that. For my other pencil, the 0.51, I use this Papermate lead, which is, yeah, I believe this is HB, which again is a little bit lighter. I also use blue lead, which is the same Pentel brand, and this is 0.5. This is blue lead for sketching. You probably are aware that you can sketch in the blue lead and it won't show up when you go to scan it. So that's the type of lead that I use. The erasers that I use are this Pentel high polymer erasers. This one's just open and this one's not. But these erase so cleanly, there's no little smudgy lines or anything like that, and I love these erasers. As far as sharpening pencil goes, I don't really know what brand this is, but I use this little 5-point sharpener. You can see there's a bunch of different points on here, so you can get a different hardness or point for your pencil just by changing this around like this, see? Of course, I always use the tiniest point over here. but you know, it has other sizes if you need it. I don't really know what brand this is at all. No idea. For effects, of course, I always talk about my white gel pen, and this is the one that I use. It's a Uniball white gel pen. It's like Tropic White or something like that. I can't remember the exact color name, but yeah, you can find this at pretty much all art stores. Just standard white gel pen. Nothing really fancy about that. I also use these. These are also made by the same people that make Copic. They're called Spica pens, and you can see this. They're made by the 2 company, which is the same people that make Copic markers, and these are kind of like little detail pens, kind of like I used a white gel pen. They had this kind of ink that I use for details and stuff. I put this over artwork and stuff to add little finishing touches and details. I have quite a few of those that I use as well. I don't always use these, but sometimes. Another thing that I use for colored pencils is this colored pencil blender. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but yeah, they do make colored pencil blenders, and it just reacts with the wax, and you know, it blends it and stuff. I use this sometimes. I don't even know where I got this. I believe I actually got this in a set with my pencil extender and a few other things too. I think it says the like national brand or something like that. I don't really know. I got this in like a set, like I said, so I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't know if they sell these individually. I've never seen them individually. Part of the reason why I got this set was for this, and it actually works quite well. So there is that. When it comes to inking or line arting, I of course use Copic brand multiliners. Here I have like the disposable kind, and then right here I have the refillable, changeable SP kind. This of course is my sepia pen, like I said in my tutorial, that I pretty much always use sepia because it is lighter than black and I just like it for line arting. But I also use these other colors too, depending on what I'm doing. I use the blue and the reddish purplish quite a lot. So another thing, people ask about what kind of watercolors do I use. I'm kind of like new-ish to watercolors, and I don't really have the opportunity to use them very often. So I just got this like standard little like cheapy sort of set, but still a high-quality brand anyway. It's Winsor & Newton, and it's just like a little mini set, you know, so I could do watercolors more. I do use crayons. Surprisingly enough, I do use crayons to draw sometimes, and these are just standard kitty grade, you know, Crayola washable crayons. Oh, how silly. I do use pastels a lot for effects, but to be quite honest, I've had these for I don't even know how many years, a very, very long time, so I can't tell you what kind of brand these are or anything, but yeah, these are just standard like chalk pastels. You keep them in these little rice containers so the dust doesn't get everywhere and they don't get ruined and stuff. But yeah, I don't really know what brand these are. I've had these for years, but luckily, because they're kept in a very dry environment and stuff, they are just as good as the day that I got them. So that is fabulous. As far as what paper I use, when it comes to sketching, I just use like these little, I just have a few different sketchbooks that I use here. These two are just pretty much the exact same sketchbook, only with a different cover in different sizes. I got these from Barnes & Noble. If you go into Barnes & Noble, you'll probably see these on like, you know, the sale rack sort of thing. And I actually really love these sketchbooks. They're actually rather cheap. They're not like fancy artist grade or anything. But the reason why I love them so much is because the paper is extremely untextured. It's very flat. It is very white. It's just a great sketchbook. And here you can see some of my little drawings in my sketchbook. So yeah, it's just a great flat white surface. I don't like sketchbooks that are textured at all. It just, it aggravates me to no end. And of course I also have my little moleskin notebook here, you can see in the corner. I just recently got into moleskins and I absolutely love them. They are just the funnest little pocket-sized sketchbooks. I can carry this around with me and, you know, sketch whenever I want to. So that's really nifty. When it comes to Copic markers, this is a particular brand of paper that I use. It's B paper? I don't know, whatever the brand is. You can see it right here. Let's see, I'll show you this. And the reason why I had originally got this is because it was recommended for Copic markers, and it's kind of misleading by the demonstration of Copic markers. At least I believe those are Copic markers on the front, and you can see it's kind of like not really very blended, so I was a little bit hesitant about using this, but it's actually really, really good paper. It's kind of misleading, like I said, but it's a really good paper. It's very, it has no texture to it, and it's very plasticky, and that's what I look for in marker paper, because I can actually sort of move around the color that I've laid a lot better than I would if I was using more cottony types of paper that just sort of suck in the ink and it doesn't really do anything with it. I like to move around the color, and it uses as little ink as possible. Yeah, so I definitely prefer this over other kinds of paper. It's just very very plasticky, and I'll tell more about that when I do Copic tutorials. For watercolor and colored pencils, I tend to use Bristol paper. It depends on, for colored pencils, I don't always use this. Sometimes I just use regular, like I said, Xerox printer paper, just cheapy little, you know, thin little paper. But sometimes I do use Bristol paper. And it gives, I mean, it's not really a different effect for colored pencils. This was Bristol paper, but I have other drawings too that are not Bristol paper, and honestly, there's really not much of a difference in the effect. But I do use this for watercolor also because it's very thick, and it does work really good for watercolor because it has pretty much no texture, and I kind of hate textured paper. It's kind of my mortal enemy, so this is great for that too. And as far as brushes goes for like watercoloring and stuff, again, I just kind of use random like cheap brushes. I haven't like been able to like spend money and get some good ones yet. So these are just tiny, like this one is like 010. It's an incredibly tiny little brush. I just try to use like the smallest brushes that I can. These are just really cheap little brushes. This one is for like wider spaces and stuff. But you can see they're like really like cheap, low quality, because the color is like staining the tips of them and stuff. I need to get better brushes, but like I said, I mean, you can create really good art and stuff like that with not the best materials. Like I said, I use Crayola crayons sometimes, so it's okay to use, not professional quality materials sometimes if you can't afford them. It's perfectly alright. So yeah, that's pretty much all the materials that I use. I hope this was like helpful, and I really hope that people stop asking me what colored pencils I use, because I say it all the time and no one listens to me. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, Prismacolor, yes. So yeah, hopefully this is informative and tells you the kind of stuff that I use for my drawings. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions as other materials that I happen to use that I didn't put in this video or that you're interested in, you can go ahead and ask me that question too. But please, 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 please do not ask what colored pencils I use, because it's right in the video. My goodness, it's right here. If I get another question, I'll go crazy, I swear. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, if you do have any questions, or you have any tutorials or explanations of anything that you would like me to do, feel free and leave a comment below. So thank you for watching. Bye.